Up, looking sharp. TV day? Nice. Get the haircut, huh? Oh, jeez. The long ball, huh? You guys know about the long ball? Too many. I realize how hard it's got to be hard to make a movie. I know. How's everybody doing? Awesome. Well, I'll just go ahead and let you guys fire away with questions. I don't have anything to start off with, so I'll let y'all go. And
Matt, as you guys have internal discussions week by week on how to utilize Justin in a given game, expand his role, what are the factors for you that are most significant in trying to figure out where he fits in a given week?
Yeah, I would say, Dan, probably the biggest thing is schematically. How do we want to use him? If we do, how is that, and when's the best place to do it? The nice thing about Justin is, you got somebody that is special with making throws too. You know what I mean? So many times you see guys that come in and sometimes they're just running quarterbacks and that sort of thing. So he can become a weapon that way too, and allow him to grow each week in practice, but yet still try to find times when we feel like it can be advantageous to us to use him in certain roles. And we thought we did that last week where we were able to, he made a good play for the touchdown run, and we had some other plays in too that we didn't get to, but nothing for us. I think he's going to continue to grow, and we just got to find spots.
Because as you mentioned, he does multiple things well. How much value does he have, I guess, as a chess piece within your game planning?
Yeah, I think he provides a lot of value now that we're here at this point and we're not in training camp and the guessing game or whatever. And inevitably, what it does is it makes when you have a guy like Justin, teams, when they see that, now they got to prepare in certain ways for certain things they may think of or not think of. So it just can help us that way too.
And I know the Saints have done this, the last couple of years. Lamar did it as a rookie for a little bit. But in general, why don't more teams do this in the NFL? I know in college it's a little more common to,
Right.
Kind of get the new guy's feet wet and also provide something else for the opponent to worry about.
Right. It might be specific to that type of quarterback. You got Taysom Hill in with the Saints, and you had Lamar coming up as a rookie and him trying to grow as well into being a complete quarterback, which he's done a great job of, obviously. So I think it's probably player and team, how you do it, and then where they're at too, like how ready are they, and to be able to be put in that situation. So all of them are a little bit different, but it does create an advantage. But you also have to be careful with the rhythm of not just a guy like Andy's breaking his rhythm, but also a guy like Justin making sure that it can help him too.
At what point did you come to the decision that this role was going to be right for him, that you were going to go forward with this?
It's all been a part of the plan, and I think that's where, again, this isn't, rush emotional decisions that happen a week before the game. This stuff has been talked about and known for a little while now, and obviously we're not going to get into a whole lot of schematics in training camp and in the off season, but when you have a plan, you kind of know where you're at, and it doesn't mean it's always going to work that way, but what it does mean is that it at least gives you a blueprint to start with, and I think that's where we feel comfortable with it.
Matt, talking to you and Sean and players, everybody seems to have settled on the defensive issues where some mental mistakes and things that can be fixed. But Alec Ogletree mentioned that he also felt that maybe there was a lack of energy, that he didn't sense it. Since he's new to it, it was kind of interesting coming from him, and it's hard to grasp in that situation how there could be. So how do you read that? How do you make sure that they're at that fine-tuned mental edge that they have to be? Yeah,
a lot of times in all three phases, when you're making big plays, that's where you get that energy. It's created through the play on the field. And, when on defense we had they had some explosives, and that can take away from your energy, but you got to find it then. You got to get it back by making big plays. And then we can help it too on offense by making big plays to where you kind of feel the juice on the sideline and there is that energy. And so I felt like in that game we were just kind of playing catch up the whole game. So where you have a lead and you have the energy and you're rolling and you feel it, you're tired, but you have the energy. We were just trying to catch up the whole game. And then we never called up. And that's probably where you felt a little bit of that. It wasn't anything for, at least what I felt on the sideline, because guys didn't care or anything like that. It was more so just the flow of the game, how it went, and there was just not a lot of explosives.
Just to follow up quick on that, because I know you mentioned how much they care a lot, and I'm sure they do, not challenging that. But beyond caring, isn't it still about playing at 101% with your
Sure.
hair on fire and that kind of thing?
Sure, absolutely. And sometimes, we have internal meetings and discussions as a team on these type of situations. And I think how you handle it is what's most important. In a lot of these scenarios, you can see teams, players, coaches that end up, pointing fingers and it can get dirty, it can get ugly. And we have not done that this whole time, and that I respect. And then what makes it pretty cool is that the next time that this happens, we'll probably all be sitting here talking about what a great job that they did from preventing him from running in for a touchdown, and probably probably really the rest of their career that'll happen. So that one play, as much as it impacted us for this one game, it's going to impact these players for their whole career. That's where I look at the glass half full, and that's where we want to stay positive with them. And sometimes it's not easy to do that because we're all frustrated, we all get angry, but we're all not perfect. So that's where I think we all got to step back and say, okay, how do we learn from this?
Coach, were you a little more encouraged with Eddie Goldman and Jason Peters after what they were able to do at practice?
Yeah, I am. I think, Jeff, that they're in a good place. We'll continue to monitor them day by day, but I would say, as I've used before, arrow up for them. I feel good about them, and we just got to see each day how they go, but they've been doing good.
Obviously not a good day for you Sunday, but you look around the division, you kind of look at it and say, hey, we kind of dodged the bullet here. And then
Yeah.
you use that, you tell the team kind of, we can kind of just scrap that one, reset, and move on.
Well, yeah, we for us, we were just focused on us, and when you look at it, you see the other teams that all lost. You see some divisions that they all won, and then you have our division and we all lost. So in the end, we do know this, that, winning a division, you're going to be sitting in a good place, no matter what your record is. And we saw that last year with some of the teams in the NFL. So that is important, but we got to control, this week and stating the obvious coach talk, that's real. Like we're worrying about today's practice, and then let's get week 2 and see how that goes here at home in front of our fans.
They provide just a bit of an exhale, because we could have came.
No, because it's too early. Because if we went 1-0 and they all went 0-1, we wouldn't feel that way either. It's the same thought.
And Matt, sometimes you reach a game in the schedule where you say, okay, this is kind of a swing game here. If we win this game, the season goes one way. If we lose, it might go the other way. I know it's very early. Is it too
Yeah.
early to say that about?
It's too early.
Yeah.
I think so. You go back and you think about the other years since I've been here, and there are probably times throughout the season where that happens, but there's also times. I mean, you could have looked at last year when we went 5-1, and you could say, hey, things are going pretty good, and then they ended up not being good. And there's other teams where they start out slow, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it's a big play, it's a big game, like you're talking about. You just start clicking, and now you catch fire. So I would feel like it's early right now, but at the same point in time, we want to. The week is a lot different when you come to work and you win. It just feels different. So we want to make sure we get back to that W side.
Matt, yesterday,
Go ahead.
sorry. Yesterday Bill Lazor was in here and he said that he has felt since preseason that Justin is ready for anything and nothing's too big for him. How do you balance that with the plan?
Yeah.
And not rushing that just because he is able to handle it?
Sure.
It has seemed too much.
Well, that's real. I mean, Justin he's done a really good job at advancing in his knowledge of this offense, better than I thought, which is good. Last week, he had a great week of practice, which is great because he's working on not just his footwork and his mechanics and his fundamentals, but he's also working on the mental side of knowing that he's going out there to try to rip people's hearts out, in practice and be great and make our defense better by being a great quarterback. So, I mean, you go back and you say, well, you hope that's the case, because if that is, then you feel good as to why you went to draft him, right, and why you did that, rather than the other side where it's a struggle and it doesn't feel right. This one right now, the way it's going, he's done a great job, and we feel good about being able to move up to get him for sure.
Matt, with Sean, you talked during training camp about how much you liked the energy that he brought and the energy that the guys had around him. When you see a defense be flat in that game, how does that energy not translate? And I know circumstances, I know you're playing behind that sort of thing, but did you think that would transfer differently to Sundays?
No, I didn't, because Sean's not a huge rah-rah guy. Actually, Sean's probably biggest strength is when stuff like this happens, he handles it well. There's no panic. He's very calm. He doesn't get too excited. And some could say, well, shouldn't you be panicked if you're you come out here and you have a defense like that happens. No, and I think that's where we all learn, because I have a lot of belief in him, the players do, and you get more opportunities, you know. So I think that he's done a great job leading these guys. I know what they think of him and what they believe in our staff, and vice versa with them. So again, we gotta go out there and make it happen. We can't just say we got to be better, but where you do that is in practice. You see why. You practice it, and then if you're not practicing hard, you know, Sean, he'll pull you, and same on offense. You know, come out and come back in when you're ready. But the guys have been great, and they're looking forward to the second week.
How much of that is maybe the players leading themselves, especially on defense, where you have big names like Khalil when he doesn't have a quarterback hit? I mean, how much is that on the players actually going out and doing it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of it. You look back at the championship teams at any level. You know, I told you guys we had Udonis Haslam in here to talk to the team. I told you that. And one of the biggest points that I took from him was how impactful it is to a team and an organization when the players, you know, are doing that. And it means a lot more than when a coach is doing that. And so we have guys that have done that. And now when you get to a game like that, not just as a defense, but as an offense too, right? All of us, we got to be able to everybody pull together. And I think that's the beauty of when you have guys that care. It's a lot easier to do that. When you get guys that are just mercenaries and they don't care about what's going on, it gets a lot harder as a coach and as teammates to reel that in. We don't have that, and that's what makes it so much easier when you don't perform like you want to.
Yeah, during the pre-draft process, did you do much work on Jamar Chase?
Yeah, I did a decent amount, probably not as much as if we would have had a higher pick. Yeah.
Early impressions of what his skill set is, and then also obviously he's, as a rookie, in a situation where he already has the trust of a quarterback, which has got to be rare. And
Huge. Yeah, I mean, super talented and just a playmaker that really, when you look at it, what he has is he's got it all. He's so well-rounded, and to come out here his first game and have this connection with Joe Burrow, and you know, the sky's the limit for him. I mean, that was one of the guys that you heard in the draft from not just people in our organization, but throughout. Like, that's a really solid pick that's going to make plays for you for a long time. So you see what he did last week, and he had that nice catch, and I mean, he's a weapon. And as a rookie, to have his first game and come in and do what he does, he's special.
What are your impressions? Sean mentioned yesterday the continuing competition between Marquis Christian and Duke Shelley. Is that nickel spot up for grabs, or are you sticking with Marquis this year?
They're working through all that. They're competing, you know, in practice, and you know, those guys will be able to. I think it's for them. They understand. Both those guys understand that. They know that, and now we'll just continue to work through that and see where it goes this week.
Matt, with Justin's plays, I'm just trying to understand the purpose that you see in that. Do you see it more as a strategic weapon within the game, or something that is for his individual development long term?
Yeah, it would be in that instance more of strategic for the game, but at the same time, you want to make sure you want to try to help him too by getting some of those snaps, you know, but that's where I think, Jason, you got to be to a point where you got to be careful with the success or failure that you have with those plays, because if you put them in and it's one play, depending on how it goes, you know, you don't want multiple plays of it not being good, because then that can mess with the mentality of it. If you have positive plays, right, and you have a touchdown run like he had, and it helps the team, then those are good, because they're building blocks for him to get under the lights, which we've all talked about. He's played on big stages for sure in Ohio State and across, you know, in his career. But it is different when you're in the NFL, and so you get a little bit of that, and you take those first snaps. It helps you out. So I think there's growth for him on the side with it, but I also think it certainly helps out our offense.
Do you view it as a progression toward, you know, increasing toward him eventually being your starting quarterback at some point, or is it really predicated on how well it works?
Yeah, it's probably, again, not to be great, but honestly, it's a little bit of both. So when I say that, like, yeah, of course, we know he's the future of this team. We understand that. So those are check marks that are helping him. Every snap that he gets, it helps him for the future. Then being on the sideline, those are going to help him. But we can help him also with practice and with what he's doing there and the game weeks each week. I think each week he's going to get better and better in a lot of different things. And so that part, yes. And then for the scheme and for the team, We just got to see how it goes, how it works, and then how defenses are reacting to it. Like, what's their plan to it? And then we got to have a counter to it.
He talked about, the other night, he talked about wanting to torch your defense on scout team. When you hear, I mean, have you seen kind of that competitiveness in practice? And how has he looked?
I have, and he's, Pat, he's done a really good job in scout team, the look team, all last week, and even the week before that we had. He's making some of those special throws, and it doesn't mean he's always torching our defense. There might be one where he drops back and has to scramble, and it would have been a sack, but he's finishing the play and then makes a good throw. There's others where he is making really good throws. So those are the ones that when we all talk about the growth of Justin and where he's at, and if it's not on game day, then are we being able to see him grow in practice with those type of throws? And he's doing that right now. That's a positive. We like that. We want more of that. And they're not just, they're really good throws. So that's on him to make sure that he continues to do that so that he can grow. But he also stays within what Sean's looking for from the second team quarterback, from the look team. So it's all positive right now, and that's great.
What are your impressions of Joe Burrow in the game last Sunday?
Well,
how do you prepare for somebody like him?
He's I have a lot of respect for him. I watched him in college, and everyone talks about how cool he is, and just back there, and you see that. I mean, he's just so natural. He's a leader. He's a great teammate, but yet he makes those special throws, and he's sneaky. He can move too, if he has to. So he's grown. I really like him a lot, and I have a lot of respect for him, and I think that they're going to be in great hands with him for a long, long time.
Thank you, man.
That's three now, right?
Watching Bengals film, what jumps out at you about Burrow and how Matt Nagy was just talking about how he's got a little bit of escapability to him that you might not think?
Yeah, I feel like he's a lot more athletic than he may look. He has the ability to, make great throws, smart guy. And he also has the ability to get out the pocket if you let him. So, we just got to contain him and keep him in there and do everything we can to affect him.
Well, defense hasn't been chewed up like that often during your time here. What bothered you most when you went back on film about the performance Sunday?
Just the lack of technique from a personal standpoint. I felt like, I could have played better from a technique standpoint. And, I'm quite sure a lot of people probably feel like that. But, that's why you have 17 opportunities. You just make sure that it doesn't happen again, and you just keep getting better and better.
As a group, what tells you that it won't happen again?
Just the group of guys we got in this room. The guys we got on defense are prideful guys. Everybody had a sour taste in their mouth, and that's how you know. You could just tell by how guys go to work and how guys are willing to go about getting better.
Ogletree talked about maybe a lack of energy from you guys from the defensive side on Sunday. What can you attribute that to? How do you explain something like that for the season opener?
Wouldn't necessarily say a lack of energy. I would just say, we just from a technique standpoint, we could have been a lot better with our technique. I think everybody was hyped up and ready to go. I just think that guys just first game, you just messed up on technique. That's why, as a professional, it's your job to just make sure it doesn't happen and you continue to get better and better.
You give up a long touchdown that quickly. What does that do for morale? And I know you guys are professionals and pick yourselves back up, but it can't be good, right?
You just got to think next play, really. I feel like, when things like that happen, You know, it's a professional football league. You know, they're good players too. You just got to be able to nip it in the bud, figure out what the problem is, and move on, and just have short-term memory. That goes with success as well. You know, you got to be able to good play, bad play, whatever type of play it is. You got to be able to move on and just have a short-term memory.
When that happened, was there somebody on the sideline on the defense who either gathered everybody together or walked up and down the line and tried to kind of get everybody focused?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You had a number of people doing that. You know, a lot of the vets, especially. You know, they the ones that that get everybody back together when we feel like we're a little bit off track. You know, group everybody back up. You know, and just let them know, yo, let's just do what we gotta do, change it, and let's just get better. Let's just forget about it and move on to the next play. You can't let things like that linger the whole game.
You talked about the sour taste in your mouth. How do you get rid of that this week? How do you reset that?
Going out and getting a W, point blank period. That's pretty much the only thing that can fix that. Just going out there, taking care of business on Sunday, and getting in the W column.
Is there anything you can do during the week, though, to make progress towards that? Or just feel like you guys are in the right frame of mind heading into Sunday?
Oh, yeah, of course. It all starts in practice. Just going out and making sure we had the best week of practice that we've had since we've been back here at Hallis Hall. That's the number one thing. That's what's going to get you the win on Sunday.
What kind of boost would Eddie Goldman provide if he can go this week?
He would provide a great boost. Just a player of his caliber. I say it time and time again, he's, in my opinion, the best in his position in football. So, just having a player like that, it's always going to give you a boost. And, just being able to see him back out on the field after such a long time, generally you'll be happy for him, as a teammate.
Well, we all know Eddie doesn't say a whole lot, but obviously after missing all of last season and then having to sit the opener, have you gotten any sense for him at just how, I guess, eager he is to finally play a football game again?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Eddie's a competitor. He wants to be out on the field, and he want to help us win. That's just who he is. So he's been the same ever since he got back here. The same Eddie, same competitive Eddie, ready to play, eager to play.
Well, you've gotten to know Coach Rumph, obviously, over the offseason, fiery guy. What was it like to be with him in the first live game action, especially in a game where the defense was struggling as a whole?
It was good. Coach Rumph is a guy who, he tried to keep everybody calm. He tried to keep everybody on the same page, the same accord. It was good for me to see how he reacted in certain situations. Because we still learning each other. But he did a great job, though. I really do.
With Nixon, I think he might have been the only one who ran for more yards than David did last week. What jumped out when you watched film of him?
He's the type of back I feel like he could do a little bit of everything. He can catch out the backfield. He does a great job in pass pro. Runs pretty physical. He's a guy. We got to control, and we gotta get people on him and get some hits on him and slow him down.
How do you split your time during the practice week between nose or the 5 or the 3, especially when you're not sure about Eddie? And does it change when you're sure if he's going to play? Do you get less reps at nose during the week? Do you take more? How does that go for you, depending on whether or not he's up or down?
Really, from pretty much it's just each week, regardless of if Eddie is playing or not, I try to prepare at all positions because as we all know, in a game anything can happen. So I just try to keep myself ready. But it's just trying to get reps at each position. That's pretty much the best way to go about it, and that's what we do. That's what we always done here. Ever since I've been here, I've been getting those type of reps like throughout the week at different positions because you got to be versatile. You got to be able to play because anything can happen on game day.
Like your preparation in terms of like film study, are you watching? You got to watch the tackle and the center and both guards all up and down the line.
Nah, not really. Ever since I've been here, I always watched all 5 dudes just because of the fact that I play pretty much, all different positions. So it really don't change much for me because I've always watched the whole O-line.
Thank you. Thanks, Steph. Next ball. what were some of the encouraging signs you took out of the ability to move the ball and what you guys did out?
Yeah, I mean, I think the overall operation and really the ability to run the ball, really were some extreme positives that we had, and with a ton of first downs, and that's at times is where we have struggled, early on this season. Well, at times running the ball. So for us, it's extremely encouraging, and we're just gonna keep pressing it and keep getting better.
Knowing how different the Bengals are in the way they play, do you sense there's much more opportunity this week to stretch the passing game a little bit?
Yeah. It's they play a lot of man, and they come down and they press you. So you have to win your one-on-one matchups and create these windows for yourself. Unlike last week, which was a lot of zone, a lot of guys sitting on stuff, just ready to crash down. So we got to be ready for that and be prepared for that mix-up in zone as well.
Would you say that this upcoming week is going to look more like the offense will look this season than last week did? It seemed like last week was a very opponent-specific game plan that might not translate to weeks 2, 3, 4, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's week one, obviously, and we're still grinding to get better and to find our identity, within the system. And so I know that we're going to keep pressing forward, and I'm excited to see, how we're going to jump, in the run game and then in a play action game, and so excited to see those improvements. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So we're going to keep hammering at it, and internally, we know what we need to do, and we know the improvements we need to make, and we're surely about to go out there and do that right now.
Is there anything you learned about Andy that maybe you didn't know before going into the game on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, his command in the huddle. I mean, he knows what he wants, and he gets it out quick, and gets guys lined up exactly where they need to go. He's a true pro. He really is, and excited to see him get even more comfortable as well in the week 2. That's I mean, I've been in some huddles with some pretty good quarterbacks, so that's something that really stands out is his ability to command a huddle and be clear and concise on what we have to do, because I mean, this is a pretty complex offense. There's a lot. I mean, I've been in some pretty complex offenses, so it's one of those things where play clock is ticking ever so quickly, and the ability for the quarterback to relay the formation, the play calling with all our emotions is a big pivotal part of being a quarterback in this type of system. So it was very impressive to see. Obviously, going on the road in such a hostile environment, our first game, and so not coming home and looking to make that an extreme advantage, especially with these fans.
You played against your former team before. Do you think it's going to be a regular game for him, or is there a little bit something extra that he's playing against the team he's with for a decade?
I mean, it's always extra for me, but yeah, I think for him, he had the, he played him last year. So for him, I think a lot of that has kind of worn off, and he's just ready to go and get established and show improvement for us all, running and just overall as an offense. So I'm excited that I don't think it's really going to bother him too much. I think he's just going to be focused on improving as a whole in week 2.
Jimmy, you pointed out that. Go ahead.
Giving Justin some snaps. Nagy says that was all part of the plan, but how does that impact the offense when Dalton's coming out and then Justin comes in, and how did he handle all of that? How did you guys handle all of that?
Yeah, I mean, Andy handled like a pro. I mean, that's what he is, and we believe in coaching, we believe in the system. So we just in this offense and on this team, it's always next man up. So when there's a guy in there, there's for a reason, and we're all about it. Obviously, he had his first touchdown, which was pretty cool to see, and my guy JP was leading the way, which is even better to see. So I told him he needs to work on his touchdown celebration to make sure it's something marquee. So
You've talked about him the whole time you've been here. The way that you talk about him, sounds like he's older than he actually is. The way that it feels, the way that he carries himself. What did you see from him in that regard on Sunday?
Yeah, he's focused, completely focused on being being a pro. And obviously he's got a good room of some guys who have played a lot of ball and won at every level. So, it's interesting to see, especially his first, how calm he is. Even in the pregame, just how relaxed he is throwing the ball is pretty impressive to see.
I mean, you point out that it's a long season, and it is, but you guys saw last year how quickly things can get away from you. Does the urgency kick in this early after a
Yeah.
game like that? Do you sit here and say, this has to be turned around now?
Yeah, well, I mean, the urgency is always on when you lose a game. It doesn't matter if you got that first loss week 12. I've been a part of some teams that have won a lot of games, and even at one loss is it's always a sense of urgency. It is a marathon, obviously, but this is the one, this is the one league where you have to perform quickly, and so we're all very very aware of that, and excited to come home, excited to be back here in Chicago with fans, and myself, here with fans for the first time, to feel the city and to get the crowd into it, and to get our defense just rushing off the edge. So for us, it's that's what we're focused on, more or less, not pressure but urgency. We understand what's at hand here, and how important this week is to get some momentum and to get in the win column.
Jimmy,
What strikes you about Dave Montgomery? His running style, his work ethic behind the scenes. What's impressed you since you got in the building here?
Montgomery said?
Yeah.
Oh, his unwillingness to go down. He's got supreme balance, and he's hungry, man. He runs hungry. Every day, here at work. I've got to see him behind the scenes really work on his body as well. To stay healthy, and the work that he puts in the weight room is pretty impressive.
Jimmy, what about you personally? I imagine, coming off kind of a disappointing week one for the team and for you, that you would like to see yourself as a bigger part of this offense going forward?
We'll see. I'm always ready and always willing, so we'll see.
Jimmy, the catch you did have down in the red zone against Ramsey seemed to really fire you up. Can you kind of take us through the adrenaline surge you had?
Yeah, first catch of the season, and obviously kind of a big moment because they called timeout, and I'm pretty sure they told everybody where the ball was going, and we just called the same play again. So that's always encouraging, and hopefully I get some more one-on-one opportunities, moving forward, and can capitalize like that.
Obviously, standing on the sideline isn't what you're used to doing. How do you keep yourself and obviously you're engaged, but what do you do?
Yeah, stay warm for sure. I'm getting old, so no, it's I'm always in it for my guys. It's Cole. Cole's getting a lot of snaps, and so I'm always ever present to make sure that I'm ready when needed. Especially. Especially if he gets tired, and I'm always there encouraging him and telling him what I see, and all my guys, Jesse and JP, we're all just kind of one unit, and so we're all leaning on each other.
Jimmy, Cole's in a kind of unique position that he's a second-round draft pick in the city where he grew up. I know you've been a mentor for him on the field, with on-the-field stuff, but what kind of advice do you give him about off-the-field stuff, handling, kind of the hoopla that
Yeah, well, I'm always giving him advice. I can't talk about all that, but, he's got a great support system, already as it is. He's got he's got great parents and a great family that loves him and has guided him in so many ways that are extremely positive. It's been really impressive to see, kind of how he was raised, and the young man that he is, and not only on the field, obviously, but off the field, and even what he's done, his personal life. So I'm always in his ear, but he's got he's got the ultimate ear at home. So.
Jimmy, you mentioned that you've been around some great quarterbacks. Have you ever had a situation where somebody would run on for a play, or 2 plays or 3 plays? And what's the challenge of everybody else on offense when that wrinkle does come in?
Yeah, it's that's why we practice. It's something that we're not prepared for. I say at times it's different when there's a quarterback that comes in that hasn't practiced all week. But these plays are being practiced, and we're focused for it. And I haven't really been a part of that, but I know Nolan's been doing it for the last couple of years, and they've been pretty successful. So I just we're just gonna just, lean on the game plan and be ready. And the more we practice, the better. So, thank you.
Thank you.
That's a dream.
Right now, do you expect opportunities to be able to get the vertical passing game going a little bit more this week, just based on the way the Bengals play?
Yeah, for sure. They play in your face, man to man, a little zone here and there, but they're not hiding anything. So there's some opportunities out there for sure this week.
As a receivers room, does that excite you a little bit to know that it's going to be a lot of one-on-ones?
For sure.
What sort of discipline did it take to execute the game plan that you guys had last week?
I mean, to it all. I mean, we were driving down the field, so I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't mad or anything about like us not taking shots down the field or anything. But the game plan was go down the field, nickel and dime it, and like get the running game going. So. The biggest scare that I was worried about, like, if we can get the running game going. If the running game was going, then the passing game would have an opportunity to wake up. And the running game was going. So we were able to, get the passes in when we were able to. So, go down, but we didn't get points. So that was the negative.
From a pass game perspective, do you imagine that this week's going to look a lot more like what people are used to seeing out of the Bears offense than last week?
I mean, our main goal is to win. So regardless of what the game plan is at the point of time, I mean, as long as we get the dub, it doesn't matter what's going on. So.
And on the play where Andy ended up getting sacked for a 50-yard loss, you kind of had the double move up to us. I mean, do you feel like that was there, had the protection?
You said the double move on the left side?
I think you were going down the left side.
Of our sideline?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was an opportunity that the play could be made. So I mean, I didn't know what happened at the point in time. I just knew the ball wasn't up in there. So.
I know you had a very productive rookie year, and there's a lot of talk this offseason about expectations of a huge jump for you. But then there's also the talk about, you're elevating yourself on the depth chart, and then there are being scouting reports out on you now. Do you feel any pressure to kind of produce at a high level this season, and how, does that start to mount after a game where the production wasn't so high?
No. I mean, no pressure at all. I mean, I'm just going out there trying to play my game and win the game. So regardless of what numbers are expected out of me, I mean, I'm trying to be dominant, like I said at the beginning of the year, before last week. But I mean, there's times when I will be able to have the opportunity to do so, and like I said last year, when the lights show, I will shine.
How eager are you to be at Soldier Field with fans?
Oh, very eager.
Experience what that's going to be like. What do you think that will feel like to have that home game atmosphere that you guys have been missing?
I think it would be a big plus for us. We haven't been able to see that last year at all, like even a taste of it. Got a little bit of it in preseason, but now it'll be like a real deal game. And it'll be good to, get the fans a win for sure this week.
What is the challenge to the rest of the offense when you bring in a new quarterback for one play? Coach Nagy's talked about trying to make sure that the rhythm doesn't get messed up when you do it. From your perspective,
from practicing, getting those reps in during practice, it's not anything like, oh man, what's going on here? We understand what going on at the point in time, so there's nothing surprise of us. It's an opportunity to score or get more yards. So.
Plus, that means you can line up at running back, right?
It's been opportunities that I've been there. So.
I know when Justin scored on that run, there was a jolt. There was an electricity jolt, and David said after the game that he just has an aura. I'm curious from your perspective how you describe just what radiates off of Justin and why guys respond to him the way they do.
I feel like we respond to both quarterbacks. There's nothing. I don't feel anything different wise. We're all a team. There's no separation from anybody on the team. We're trying to go out there and win the game and gain positive yards. There's nothing different out there at all. So I don't feel anything.
There's a lot of talk about you beating Jalen on the double move last year. You beat him real bad. He responded a little bit about it on social media. Was there any interaction between you two before, during, or after the game on Sunday?
No, nothing at all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.